Hello, everybody, and welcome to another figure review. Today, we'll be taking a look at yet another Snake Eyes. It took me about 3 or 4 hours to make, give or take. It was pretty easy build. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was pretty easy and simple to follow the instructions in the booklet. That being said, this is another Snake Eyes added to the collection. As you can see, we are joined by other fellow Snake Eyes figures. And to quickly do a size comparison with Classified, you can see here he is a bit shorter and obviously taller than our vintage counterparts. So he does sit at around, I would say like 4 to 5 inches tall. Classifieds are around 6 inches. So yeah, he's not gonna scale well. He's sort of gonna be his own thing. But yeah, he like I said, excuse me. Oh god. Anyway, before I die, like I was saying, it was pretty easy to build, easy to follow instructions and whatnot. Tons of accessories, so I think we can take a quick look at that. Starting off with his sort of bandolier thing here. We have two sword sheaths which actually aren't very hollow. So what you do, you have these separate accessories which just sort of plug in to resemble that the swords are sheathed in. You have these grenades here. You can pop them out. Obviously you can paint them. You have some weapon storage here on the belt. These sort of smoke bombs or flashbangs, whatever you want to call them. And you have a holster here, which you can holster one of the pistols. Goes in very nicely. And you also have sort of a knife sheath here for one of the other knives, which we'll be taking a look at shortly here. So yeah, these are all the accessories he comes with. Starting off with this rifle. Pretty nice, I like it. I like this sort of style of rifle where you have the handle and then the magazine clip at the back. Very nice and nicely sculpted. Fits in his hand pretty well. And I say pretty well because they do tend to fall off, and it's a pretty loose grip. As you can see, we did this weird thing on the hands where they have this weird block or square in there for some reason. Not really sure why. But yeah, if you're wondering if it scales well with Classified, I find it easier to use for female characters since their hands are smaller. And yeah, well, it fits pretty nice and it looks pretty decent to have that with Classified female characters. We have his iconic Uzi here, well sculpted as well. We have this sort of rocket launcher as well. And then we have a whole bunch of hands, and there's this other little piece here, a little pouch, which is meant to go on his forearm. But I don't know how well, we'll get into the whole details and stuff in a minute, but it keeps popping out from his forearm. As you can see, it's sort of splitting. And so yeah, it kind of just pops off. But hands, we have a variety. We have like relaxed hands, sort of supporting hands for the rifles. And they're nicely sculpted. Very nice sort of gloves. We have this one which is meant to hold his swords, which holds them pretty tightly. They're not loose or anything. We also have, obviously, the trigger hands. We have full fists for some punching. And then we have here the two knives, which I mentioned earlier, which are, they don't come attached to the hands. I just put them there so I don't lose the knives. But yeah, these hands are also sort of, they have a tighter grip, but they still have a hole, as you can see there. And these are meant to be for the knife holds. So let's see what else. We have the two other pistols I forgot to show. There we go. Nicely sculpted. Everything is in this gray plastic. But other than that, they're pretty well. I mean, we didn't take a look at the sword. We have the Arashikage logo there. And well sculpted for the most part. Very... It does have some bend to it. It's like pliable. But it also feels like it can snap at any moment. So be wary of that if you do want to consider buying this model kit. Getting her out of the way. The sculpt and detail on this guy are pretty good from the most part that I could see. I mean, it's mostly like a bland body, kind of, as you can see here. It's just some muscle definition in there. And then you have all these other straps on these other pieces. The shin guards and the knee pads pretty well. And it's also a full-on black figure, so it may be hard to notice some things, but you'll see some damage or wear. That's because I grabbed my pliers and sort of forced the pieces to stick together a lot more tighter. Going back to the forearm here, that's why it's sort of split. And it's very weird because you need to remove like the excess plastic because it comes folded with those weird little pegs. And I managed to shave everything off, but it's still sort of splitting, and that's where I would come in with pliers and I would get these sort of nicks and knacks, which I'll just play it off as adding what's it called, battle damage. But yeah, you can see over here I did that as well, and it's still sort of split. But yeah, that's kind of unfortunate that they don't really stick together very well, even when you clean off the excess plastic. But yeah, let's see, lots of detail. I like the head sculpt, very Snake Eyes basic head sculpt here. Very nice. There's obviously the whole other part to this where you can go in and add some paint to the shin guards and all this stuff. Sort of like the grenades, you can paint the grenades and stuff. I don't have the equipment or have the necessary skills to do that sort of thing. So I'm actually kind of happy that it's just sort of a black figure, and the only color difference we have is the shin guards, the knee pads, and his visor. Basically that's all you need from Snake Eyes. So yeah, articulation wise, he does pretty well. It's like a sort of exported figure, that kind of articulation, so his head can look up pretty well and down pretty well, very well. He has head tilt, very nice. His arms, this is where sort of the articulation can get a bit tricky, but yeah, you can raise his arm about that much. No real butterfly joint. This piece in here is sort of its separate thing, but yeah, there's like a slight butterfly joint. Bicep swivel, double jointed elbows, and then his arms can hinge up and down, and then you can move that peg, rotate it, and then it'll go side to side. Torso crunches about that much forward and back a bit more, I feel like. And this is another instance where the chest piece just wants to come apart. But yeah, there you go, there's that. And he can also rotate, of course. He's on some ball joints in there. There goes one of the pouches. Yeah, there's a lot of little things that can just fall off, this pouch included. He can kick about that far up. I don't think he has any drop down hips, no. He can kick back, well, it can go back pretty decently. He can kick to the side pretty well. It's gonna get limited by all this strap and gear he has on. Sorry. Double jointed knees, very nice. It does expose the whole articulation pieces here, which is kind of annoying at times, but that's how they engineered it. No boot swivel here or upper thigh cut, but his foot does go up about that much back, and he has a weird ankle pivot system, but yeah, he has it and it'll work if you manage to get it to work. But yeah, that's gonna do it for this review for the most part. Very, I guess, unique experience for me since I've never done model kits. This is my first one. Like I said, it was pretty easy. I enjoyed the process and just the overall feel of this guy, how he looks and all that stuff. So yeah, that will conclude my review. Hopefully it's quick and I don't take too much time, but yeah, that's gonna be the review on this guy. As you can see, I'm struggling to put on the gun on his hand, but it's that weird lock thing I mentioned earlier. Alright, there we go. He's holding it now. I think that would be my only complaint here. He doesn't really hold his guns very well. And some of the parts don't really stick together very well. Over time, it just sort of starts separating. But that's fine. I could probably just go back and add some super glue and keep it all together intact. But anyway, that was my review on the model kit Snake Eyes from, I believe it's Flame Toys. They did a good job with it. I enjoyed it. Looks very nice. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed the review, and I will see you guys in the next video.